Hello and welcome to Learn to Drive the Easy Way. I'm approved driving instructor Michael Gambin, and I'm going to show you how to drive manual, automatic and cars fitted with disability controls in the easiest way possible. So sit back, relax and enjoy. And remember to hit the subscribe button underneath to see all of our videos. So the cockpit drill. This is something you will have to do every time you get in your instructor's car. You need to set the car up in a way that you feel comfortable and that you are safe to drive that particular vehicle. So the first thing that we will do is check the doors are shut, pretty self-explanatory. There may be a warning message on your dashboard that will also say whether your door is slightly open or not, but just give them a good, hard, firm close. Okay, once we've done that, we will then move on to our seat. Now, the first adjustment that you will do on most cars is the height of the seat. On this car, it's a lever on the right hand side, and you pump it up to go higher and pump it down to go lower. You want it set in a way that you can see out of the windscreen clearly. You're not so low that you're looking directly into the steering wheel, but you're also not too high that the roofline is obscuring your view. The next thing that we then do is the depth from the pedals or from the hand control if you're having to use that. If you're having to use pedals in a manual vehicle, you want to make sure that you're able to put the clutch all the way down. So your left foot on the left pedal, put it all the way down and have a slight bend in your knee, like in this picture here. If you are driving an automatic, you want to be able to put the accelerator all the way down and again have a slight bend in your knee. If you are driving a vehicle with hand controls, you want to be able to push the brake as far as possible and have a bend in your arm as well. You don't want to be driving with your arms straight because that is going to be very uncomfortable, especially because you are going to have to use one hand to steer. Once we are happy with the depth from the pedals or the hand control, the next thing we will then adjust is the rake of the seat, which is the back part. Now on this car it is a simple lever. You just pull it and it spring loads it, and you use your body weight to then adjust it before letting go of the lever. On some vehicles, you may have to turn a wheel, like in this picture. So when we're changing the back of the seat, it's important that we take our weight off of the seat to avoid damaging the mechanism. Then use the wheel or the lever to allow the back to be adjusted. We want to set it in a position that we feel comfortable when we're sitting in our normal driving position, so not folded forward but also not too far back. Once we're happy with the rake of the seat, we can then move on to the head restraint. Now with this particular car, the button's on the right hand side. It may be different from one car to another, but we want to set it in the way, and this is something to remember for your practical test as well, as the examiner will ask you two questions. They're called the show me tell me questions. And the question that you will get first of all is a tell me question, and this is one of the questions that you could be asked. So with the head restraint, what we want to do is adjust it so our eye level is in the center of the pad, and if the head restraint can be moved backwards or forwards, we also want it as close to the back of our head as possible without actually touching it. Okay, remember we call it a head restraint, not a head rest. Once we're happy with the seating position, we can then move on to the steering wheel. Now there may be various types of adjustments on your particular car. With this car we can move it up and down and in and out as well. Okay, now the way I advise my clients to do it is to hold the steering wheel in a comfortable position so you can see all of the dials. It's not too low that it's hitting your legs, but it's also not too high that it's obscuring your view. Now you do sometimes get some instructors saying to extend your arm, and it should sit on your wrist so your arm can fold forward. It's completely down to you whether you prefer to use that technique. There's nothing wrong with doing it, there's nothing wrong with not, as long as you're able to feel comfortable when you're holding the steering wheel. Once we've done our steering wheel, we can then move on to our mirrors. Now, when we're adjusting the rear view mirror, we want to set it up in the way that we can see the entire rear window as much as possible. Obviously the head restraints in the rear will get in the way, we can't help that, but as long as you can see everything nice and clearly. Sometimes you will have a little lever underneath, that if someone is driving behind you with badly adjusted headlights or their main beams are on at night time, you can pull that lever to allow yourself not to be blinded by those lights. For the scientists that are watching, it's what we call a prismatic wedge. I'm not going to go into the science of it, but that's how that effect works. It makes it duller. On some cars like this one, it has an electronic adjustment, so it will auto dim the rear view mirror for you. Once we've done our rear view mirror, we will then set up the two side mirrors, and that's done with on this car, the buttons and switchgear on the right hand side, as in this picture. You want to set it up in a way that you can see as little of your car as possible on the inside edges and the horizon line across the centre. You may see some videos on YouTube that say that you need to see a quarter of your car. Can you crash into your own vehicle? No, you can't. It's impossible. So why do you need to see your own car? You will hear the term blind spots later on. They're parts of your sort of peripheral vision that you can't see. They're the ones that you'll have to look over your shoulder for as you're pulling away. Now, to eliminate as much of your blind spots as possible, especially if you're driving on dual carriageways, motorways, where you're having to change lane and there may be a vehicle moving from lane 3 into lane 2 at the same time as you, you want to cover as much of that blind spot in your mirror as possible. So you want a small slither of your car on the inside edge. After we've done our mirrors, the next thing we can do is our seat belt. The way I advise you to do it is by grabbing it, if possible, with your left arm. Keep the buckle end facing the clip and put it in so you hear a click noise. That keeps the belt itself nice and straight and true, which therefore makes it do its job safer. You may sometimes see people putting the belt underneath. This is not a safe way to wear your seat belt. The seat belt is designed in a way that it goes over your shoulder, so in the case of an incident or an accident, it makes it safer for you. If you have an incident or an accident again, the seat belt will lock. Now, if I put my belt over my shoulder like so, you can see that's the range of movement that I've got. Okay, I can't move any further forward than this. Okay, it prevents me. If I keep it in the locked position but now put it under my arm, I can now fold forward, which now means that I'll be headbutting the steering wheel. So for safety reasons, we always want the seatbelt over our shoulder. It's what we call a 2-point harness. Okay. After we've done our seat belts, the last things we do is our final checks. So making sure we don't have any warning messages coming up on the dashboard, like oil pressure warning lights or water temperature warning lights, and also making sure that all of your passengers are seat belted. Now, we've all come across people in the back of a vehicle not wearing their seat belts. You are not exempt from the rules, okay? And it's for a very good reason. If you have an accident and you are traveling at 40 miles an hour when you have that accident, everything will carry on doing 40 miles an hour in the direction of travel that it was traveling at before. So the person that's behind you will now go into the back of your seat at the same speed, and this will lead to severe injuries, possibly paralysis or worse. So make sure that the people behind you are belted, because at the end of the day, they will do some serious damage to you. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thank you.